95-year-old Hackman and his wife, a 63-year-old classical pianist, their German Shepherd dog, all of them tonight mysteriously dead.
Hollywood just lost a legend, and the circumstances surrounding his passing, let's just say they're pointing to something really dark.
We're following breaking news developments in the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, with investigators now calling those deaths suspicious.
Gene Hackman, the Oscar-winning powerhouse behind The French Connection and Unforgiven, has left the stage for the final time. But this isn't just another farewell. This mystery has got everyone asking, what really happened at his secluded Santa Fe estate? On February 26, 2025, authorities weren't called by family or friends, but by a pest control worker who had stopped by the couple's Santa Fe home. When no one answered, he felt something wasn't right. That's when he alerted a neighborhood security officer, who then peered through a window and made a horrifying discovery. What he saw made him immediately call 911. At precisely 1:45 p.m., Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies arrived at a quiet home on Old Sunset Trail. After a brief search, they uncovered a chilling truth. Hackman, his beloved wife, Betsy Arakawa, and their dog were gone. Their lives tragically cut short, a haunting silence where Hollywood royalty once lived. Despite his towering fame, Hackman had been living a quiet life since his retirement in 2004, staying far away from the spotlight. But now, all eyes are back on his name. For reasons no one expected, authorities aren't ruling anything out just yet. Was it a heart attack, an overdose, or something even more unsettling? In an emotional statement, his daughters Elizabeth and Leslie, along with granddaughter Annie, shared their heartbreak. He was loved and admired by millions, but to us, he was always just dad and grandpa. Gene Hackman's family is grieving a devastating loss, but the rest of the world is asking one burning question. What really happened? A single passing might seem natural, but when two lives are lost under the same roof, now that raises eyebrows. Sheriff Adan Mendoza, in a press conference, revealed that the couple had been gone for quite a while, but of course, that's still an estimate. When police discovered Hackman and his wife on February 26th, their remains were in a mummified state, and that no doubt threw a wrench into the entire investigation. Why? Well, you see, according to forensic experts, once bodies reach mummification, determining an exact time of passing becomes nearly impossible.
And as this mummification process takes place, the skin becomes almost like parchment. It's very brittle looking, it's dry.
What does this mean? We may never know when or how Gene Hackman and his wife actually passed. Now, what we do know is that there aren't any obvious signs of foul play yet. But make no mistake, investigators aren't ruling anything out. Just when we thought the case of Gene Hackman's tragic passing couldn't get more perplexing, a surprising twist emerged. Initially, authorities reported the passing of Bear, the couple's German Shepherd. But now, investigation revealed that it was actually Zinna, a 12-year-old mixed-breed Kelpie found near Betsy Arakawa's body. Even more unsettling was that Zinna likely passed away from starvation or dehydration, while Bear and Nikita, the other dogs, survived, roaming freely. This key detail has thrown the investigation into a new light. Some say these details could point towards something crucial about the timeline of the couple's final moments. If things weren't already strange enough, a local gas company detected a minuscule gas leak from a stove burner during an inspection of Hackman's Santa Fe home. Coincidence? Maybe, but officials insist the leak was too small to have caused the deaths. So what really happened behind those walls? Now this is where things get even more intriguing. Dr. Michael Baden, one of the most famous forensic pathologists out there, has just dropped a bombshell about this mysterious case. According to Baden, there was no carbon monoxide involved. Scratch that theory off the list. Instead, Hackman allegedly passed away from severe heart disease, the #1 silent killer in America. He suffered cardiac arrest, collapsed in the mudroom, and that was it. But here's where things get chilling. Baden revealed that Hackman's pacemaker may have held the key to the timeline of his passing. If the data is correct, Hollywood's legendary actor could have been lying there for 9 days before authorities discovered him.
Gene Hackman might have been dead for 9 days, according to what his pacemaker showed.
9. Let that sink in. And what about Betsy Arakawa? Her body showed decomposition and mummification, which means she had been gone for quite a while too. That's not the kind of detail you hear every day in Hollywood tragedies. Now, this raises even more questions. What else could investigators dig into? Cell phones haven't given the authorities any new evidence just yet.
Have investigators been able to get into the obtained cell phones?
Not at this time. We have them in our possession. Those were collected yesterday. It's going to take a process.
And autopsy results just seem to confuse people even more. Parts of their bodies were modified. What does that even mean? Let's also not forget, there was a prescription bottle and scattered pills found next to Arakawa's remains.
Do you believe it may be possible that that prescription could be related in any way to the deaths that we've seen here?
That's obviously very important evidence at the scene. That information was collected.
For many days, speculation has run wild. Did Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, make a heartbreaking joint decision to leave this world together? Well, an expert medical examiner is shutting down the theory of voluntary departure, and his reasoning is sending shockwaves. Dr. James Gill, Connecticut's chief medical examiner, just dropped a major revelation. Everything about the scene suggests this wasn't a planned goodbye. First, there were no external injuries, meaning nothing violent went down. Then came the toxicology tests, which delivered their own bombshell: no carbon monoxide poisoning.
Santa Fe Sheriff Adon Mendoza said,
Both individuals tested negative for carbon monoxide.
But the real game changer here is where their bodies were found. Gill says that in cases of voluntary departure together, couples are almost always found together, side by side, often in bed. That wasn't the case here. Hackman was discovered collapsed in the mudroom, while Arakawa's body was in a separate area, her hands and feet already in a mummified state. If they had planned this together, why weren't they together when they passed away? Instead, Gill believes Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, may have died from sheer heartbreak. It's a theory that sounds almost too tragic to be real, but Gill insists it happens more often than people think. Maybe Hackman collapsed first? The legendary actor had a history of heart disease and a pacemaker. Hardly shocking for a man in his 90s. But then there's the eerie part. Why did Betsy go down too? Gill suggests that the sheer horror of seeing her husband lifeless on the floor might have been enough to stop her own heart. The human body, after all, can only take so much stress before it breaks. The surge of adrenaline, the panic, the heartbreak, it could have sent her into a fatal spiral. Or, he theorizes, could one of them, overcome with grief, have made a desperate decision? Gill points out that in some cases, after finding a loved one unresponsive, people can spiral into deep despair, sometimes enough to end their own lives. A prescription bottle and scattered pills were found near Betsy's body. Could she have been so grief-stricken that she took matters into her own hands? It was also previously reported by authorities that the house's front door was unlocked and open, and Hackman was found fully clothed with sunglasses next to his body. Authorities believe this indicates a fall of some sort. Of course, the police said they were not ruling out overdose or heart attack theories. But of course, as they wait for medical reports, they predict that it could actually take time before the investigation gets anywhere.
Finally, as sheriff's officials gather information, it's worth pointing out that this could take weeks or months before we know exactly what the cause of death is. That's because these medical examiner cases often take time.
Now, this shocking case has left more questions than answers. But according to Paul Morrow, a retired NYPD inspector, there's one critical clue that could finally unlock the truth, and it's hiding in plain sight. With no security cameras inside or around the house, many assumed evidence would be scarce. But Morrow says that couldn't be further from the truth. The public shouldn't jump to too many conclusions, he warns. Instead, investigators are zeroing in on digital evidence, specifically security cameras from the gated community, street surveillance, and even ring cameras from neighbors. Why could this be the game changer? Gated communities almost always have cameras at entry points. Plus, street surveillance could also track movement near the home. With the discovery that the bodies were already mummified when found, forensic experts admitted they may never be able to determine exactly when the couple passed. But if cameras caught a car arriving, a suspicious visitor, or even a crucial last sighting of the couple alive, it could finally crack the case wide open. So what do you think could be the real reason behind Gene Hackman's mysterious passing? What do you think actually went down? Let us know in the comments.